I'm Roy Hills. Currently, I'm working as chairman for Intertek NTA. I started at NTA Monitor about 20 years ago and ran it up until 2018 when we sold to Intertek PLC. Well, now is quite different because since the acquisition, I've taken on a non-exec role as part-time chairman. So I'm now working for 2 days a week, and the other 3 days I can do other things. Previously, before the sale, I was the CEO, so I was working full time. If I talk about that, a typical day, what I would do then is we have 2 offices. So we've got one office in Malaysia and one office in the UK. So typically what I'd do is I'd spend the early morning times dealing with Malaysia because of their time zone differences, speaking to the director there, trying to help them with any issues they had. From mid-morning, I would work in the UK, which is the head office, normally until about 5 or 6. Fairly varied role, really, because I was responsible for the other directors and also for the various team leaders and managers. If we go back to the beginning of my career, I was originally a software engineer, so I was programming real-time systems. From there, I moved into computer networking, which was TCP/IP was part of that. I then moved into internet security provision, so I worked for an internet provider in Canterbury in Kent. And after that, after a brief contract position doing TCP/IP networking again, I decided to start my own company providing cybersecurity services, and that was when I started NTA Monitor. So that was in 1996 that myself and my wife decided to start the company. I think the main interest that I've found, managing growth has been very interesting. So we started, when we formed the company, we had absolutely nothing. So we started from zero. It's been growth all along. I think every year we've grown both in terms of revenue and in terms of staff, and that's been quite challenging at times. So managing growth is probably the first interest. The second interesting thing has been the change that I've seen in the industry. When we started, things were obviously much different, and there's been a huge amount of change over the last 20 years. So that's been really exciting. The last thing I'd probably say that's been interesting is been managing the differing opinions within the firm, in terms of sometimes the shareholders might have differing opinions. I might have differing opinions to some of the other directors and some of the managers, and trying to manage those different opinions and run the company, trying to take everyone's opinions into account, has been interesting. I think some of those ones that I mentioned have been challenges, but they've also been very useful in running the business. So in terms of challenges, I'd say probably the biggest challenge that I've had has been the conflict between, is it a business or is it a profession that we were trying to run? To put that in a little bit of context, from the shareholders, me and my wife weren't the only shareholders in the business. We had some other shareholders in the business. From the shareholders' perspective, it's a business. They're in it obviously for the return they can get on their holding. Whereas from my perspective, it was more of a profession and a business as well. So you need both. You can't become a successful business in the pentest space without also being a profession. If you're not good at the profession, you're not going to be a successful business. As a CEO of a pentest firm, you need to take account of the needs of the shareholders, which is to run it partly as a business. Linked to that is the long-term versus short-term question. So from a pure business perspective, from the shareholders' perspective, they are looking at what's the dividend going to be this year, which is a relatively short-term thing, whereas some of the things you're doing from the profession side is maybe investing in things or developing things that might become a new and interesting service. Managing conflicting demands is a key skill. I think if you're running a pen test firm, or to be honest, running any firm, you're going to have conflicting demands on your time. You're going to have conflicting demands from different people. and being able to manage those is probably, I would say, the most important skill that I felt that I needed to learn and implement. Absolutely, I wasn't trained. I wasn't trained as a CEO, so I kind of, I guess, came through the ranks, as it were, because I'd started effectively as a technical person with no knowledge of accounts, no knowledge of any of the legal framework, and I had to learn that and understand it as I went along. I'd say first of all, treat it as a profession, just the same as some of the more established professions. So if you look at law or accountancy or any of the more mature professions, I believe that cybersecurity will become a mature profession. I think it is maturing, and I would say for anybody going into pen testing, treat it as a profession. Probably the second thing I'd mention is that it's important to have a good attention to detail. I would say whatever role you're in cybersecurity, there might be a lot of people thinking about becoming pen testers, but any role within a cybersecurity company, even if it's not delivering pen testing, if it's being a manager of a department or if it's in an administrative function, attention to detail, again, as any profession, it will be the same pretty much whatever profession a person chooses, but attention to detail is vital, especially for people who are going in on the technical side and looking to become pen testers. Don't necessarily focus purely on a narrow area, because pen testing can be quite a narrow profession, and there might be a time where later on, after some time in the cybersecurity space, that you might want to broaden out or go into something else, maybe still within cybersecurity, but you don't necessarily focus on too narrow area and get too deep in one thing at the expense of breadth of knowledge. I think breadth of knowledge throughout the cybersecurity profession is very important as well. If you're looking to get a pen test provider in, the first thing that I would look at is coming back to this business versus profession. Is the firm that you are looking to contract with a cybersecurity profession, or is it a business with a cybersecurity department? So if you're looking to get a pen test, then ideally I think that you should look for a professional firm that treats it as much as possible as a profession. The second thing I'd look for is professional membership, both in terms of the company itself, which will give some assurance that they follow good practice, and also for the members that will be delivering the pen test service. I think it's going to be continued growth. I don't see pen testing or cybersecurity going away. We'll see new areas come up. We'll see new specialisms evolve. But I think fundamentally, the fundamental problems that have been there for 20 years, which is really one of increasing complexity of software and increasing complexity of interconnectivity, means that there will be more bugs, and a lot of those bugs will be exploitable. I don't see that going away. I see systems becoming more interconnected. I see computer systems being used in more areas and more critical areas. I don't think cybersecurity is going away, and I think it's going to continue to grow. I think it's mainly to keep an involvement in the industry for me. I'm coming to the tail end now of the handover to the new firm. I want to stay involved in the industry, and that's probably the main motivation. I like to think I might have some areas that I can help in, and so one of the things that I'm hoping to do is to be able to give some advice where I can be of help on things that I've worked on while I was running the pen test firm. The area that I really want to work on is to try to help it where I can to improve the professionalism within the industry, because I see it as, although it's a lot more mature than it was 20 years ago when the industry kind of pretty much didn't exist. It was there were a lot of one-man bands around at that point. It wasn't really a profession. It's come a long way in the last 20 years, but I think if we compare it with, let's say, the legal profession, it's got a long way to go, in my opinion. And I think that if I can help to improve the professionalism in any way, I'll be very happy.